Had some brilliant ideas about how art can be transformative, but can reading his novel change your life?
Well, it certainly changed mine. I think differently, I see differently, I even feel differently about who I am.
Yeah, and you get to teach at Stanford.
Hey, Proust never objected to side benefits.
In Search of Proust's Philosophy, next time on Philosophy Talk.
Listen to Philosophy Talk every Tuesday at noon on KSJE 90.9 FM, Farmington. Ten minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Monday, the last day of March 2025. Good morning, everybody. I'm Scott Micklin. Thanks for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM over the airwaves here in San Juan County, New Mexico. In Durango, Colorado, we broadcast at 103.3 FM. And if you're listening to my voice anywhere else on the planet, you've gone to our website to do that, streaming all the time from KSJE.com. Welcome also to our viewers who are joining us this morning. The video of this program is streaming out live to the KSJE Facebook page and also to our YouTube channel. So welcome aboard, everyone. So glad that you are with us, because coming up in the next few moments, my guest this morning from San Juan County, getting an update on budget issues and some other projects the county is working on and some other maybe future projects the county is thinking about working on. So stay tuned for that conversation coming up in the next few moments right here on KSJE. Next hour, we'll be joined by Mick Hess, of course. He will take over the studio. Classical music program Roving with the Arts right here on KSJE beginning at 9:06. Don't forget, of course, you can also connect with us on X and Instagram in addition to Facebook and YouTube. And if you're a podcast person, we invite you to subscribe for free and download and listen to KSJE podcasts. You'll find them at places where you're probably already listening to podcasts, so check it out and discover a new program that you may have missed recently. Outside our studios here at San Juan College, it is a sunny Monday morning, 35 degrees at the moment. We're expecting a partly cloudy day today with some winds in the forecast as well. 62 degrees for a high in Farmington on this Monday, 50 degrees and windy overnight tonight. Then take a look the next several days. A chance of rain or snow showers Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday this week. We'll see maybe a 50% chance of showers and maybe some snow flurries as well for the next couple of days. Highs each day near 50 degrees, overnight lows right around 30. And we'll keep checking on that storm as it gets a bit closer. I'll be back with my guest from San Juan County right after this on KSJE. KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center. The caregivers of San Juan Regional Medical Center are committed to bettering the quality of life, health, and care of individuals, families, and our communities. Life is their sacred trust. Better is their mission. Here is their home. San Juan Regional Medical Center, improving the health of the Four Corners since 1910.
Ahead, turn right.
Isn't it nice to have a little help getting where you're going?
Your destination is ahead and 300 feet.
When navigating life's challenges, the San Juan County Navigation Center can help you with navigating housing, navigating transportation, navigating medical providers, and more. Learn more online at sjcnavigate.net or call 505-636-7110. The Navigation Center, connecting to resources, empowering lives.
You have arrived at your destination.
Back in Studio A with my guest this morning. My guest from San Juan County, as I mentioned, County Manager Mike Stark is here with me this morning. Mr. Stark, good morning. Welcome back to KSJE.
Good to be back, Scott.
Nice to have you here. Thank you very much. Steven Saavadra is also here this morning, the Deputy County Manager. Mr. Saavadra, good to see you again. Thank you for coming back in.
Good morning, Scott.
Good to have you both here to talk a bit about, as I mentioned, budgetary issues, projects, and things that the county is working on, both in the near and maybe not so near future. And Mike Stark, let's start with you a little bit about budgets and how things are looking. I know the legislative session just ended. The governor has a few more days to decide whether to sign bills or not, and that's certainly probably filtering what you're going to tell me this morning, because we don't know a lot of things maybe in some cases. But how's the budget outlook looking so far?
Yeah, good question, Scott. We're right in the middle of preparing our FY 26 budget for July 1st. You know, we're on a fiscal year of July 1st to June 30th, and things right now are fairly positive. You know, we've One aspect of revenue for the county is gross receipts taxes, and I think it's also a good measure of our economy and how it's doing. And broadly speaking, countywide, we're seeing an 8% increase year over year, and so that's positive news. Property taxes is another form of revenue, and that's remained pretty solid because of some of the positive housing activities here and a lot of interest in this area that hasn't waned. I think it's come down a bit from the highs, but still very positive. And then we're seeing a lot of commercial activity, a lot of new private sector growth and construction, which is always positive to see. And of course, a lot of public sector projects that are taking place with the Pinion Hills project, the Aztec Arterial.
Right.
We're finishing up work on the Tota water and wastewater project, and these are all good investments into our community and also provide some economic activity and construction growth. Of course, with capital outlay, I think you were referencing some of the projects that we hope to be the recipient of. That was very positive as well. So all in all, things are very positive. We got a few challenges, but heck, it wouldn't be any fun if we didn't have some challenges to work on. So.
Well, I guess that's probably true. That's very true. And so again, from the legislative session, though, you feel pretty comfortable with how things went, and some of the bills you were watching did get approved, I guess, so far at least?
Yeah, I think all around it was a very, very positive session. There was a lot of concern about some bills that could be problematic, specifically for small businesses. House Bill 11, the Paid Family Medical Leave Act, was, I know, of great concern to ForSed, the Chamber of Commerce, and our local businesses. We're always interested to see what could be done relative to crime bills, and I don't think there was as much success there. Another bill for small businesses that was of concern was the minimum wage bill and bringing that up to $17. I know I heard a lot of concern of that. And all in all, there's a lot of activity that takes place during a 60-day session. There were, 1,100 and let me get the exact number, 1,190 bills introduced.
Okay.
And so a lot of activity that can happen during a 60-day session. A lot of stuff to keep on the radar and watch and see how it ebbs and flows and whether or not bills will make it to the finish line. And total 147 bills have made it to the governor for her to take action on. And so we're, of course, watching that between now and April 11th is the date that she has
her date. Gotcha.
To take action.
Gotcha. Very good. And so that's so not all 1,100 obviously got to the governor. A lot of them, the majority of them, kind of died in committee or what have you, I guess, right? And so that's kind of what happens in a normal, typical session. A lot of bills get introduced, but not so many get through the process to the governor.
Yeah, correct. I mean, this year's session was actually a little higher rate than normal. 12.3% of the bills that were introduced made it to the governor, made it through the House and the Senate.
See, I'm glad you did that math. I was trying to figure that out here, but it's too early for me.
Well,
yeah, I knew it was around 10%, but I was like, well, maybe it's 12.
But
yes.
Yeah, so that is a little higher than normal, but like I said, all in all, nothing too wild or crazy took place. Like I said, I think in some cases, when it comes to the crime package, there were a lot of folks statewide, but certainly here locally too, hoping that we would see more being done to move the accountability needle relative to crime, both adult and juvenile. But like I said, we from a capital outlay standpoint, we were very pleased.
We were talking before we came on the air this morning a little bit about the amount of dollars San Juan County is scheduled to get from the capital outlay bill.
Yeah, assuming there are no line item vetoes, a big thanks to our state legislators. They really do go to bat for us and all the local entities up here during the session, and they really came through this year. Right now on the docket is $7 million to fully fund a crisis triage center. We received $2.5 million for our county clerk's office expansion and renovations and security upgrades. And then $200,000 for a new EMS Station 6 to fund design and to move that project forward. So, as a percentage, that's total. It's $9.7 million, and out of the total dollars that were allocated to San Juan, we ended up with 27% of those dollars. So we're very thankful and very blessed for our legislators and the work they did this
Right.
past session.
Because that doesn't happen every year. You get 27% of capital outlay funds.
I can tell you that that's never happened
Okay.
in my time at San Juan County. In fact, our largest funded project prior to this year, very important project too for public safety, $3.2 million for the sheriff's office helicopter a few years back. So to move to a $7 million threshold, which I do know, I think had some funding provided by the governor's office, so it was a combined legislative,
Nice.
legislators and governor funding request. But that's really big for our community to be able to bring that type of facility to our area and to help move the needle on behavioral health services here.
Very much so. We've talked about that before, and I know the county has a big commitment to funding mental health services and offering these services to our community members. Steven Saavadra, can I talk to you a bit about what that money will be used for, the triage center? We've talked about it briefly on this program a few months ago, I think, in its conceptual stages, but now with money actually backing it up, it's actually going to be a project that'll be funded and built, right? Talk to me a bit about what that entails.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Scott. It was a while back when then Lisa Gomez, the Community and Health Director, and myself were talking about the crisis triage business plan and feasibility study that was taking place. And then within that document, it identified, one, does San Juan County need a crisis triage center? Unfortunately, the answer is yes. And what a crisis triage center is a dedicated place open 24/7 so that individuals that are suffering from some type of behavioral health crisis, let's say somebody is suicidal, they would now have a dedicated facility to go to get immediate treatment. Instead of going to the ER room where this individual may be waiting hours to be seen, or the detention center where that's not necessarily the best place for them to get treatment, there's now a facility, at least in the works, so that they can get immediate treatment within a few minutes. Hopefully those issues that they're having will be able to be de-escalated.
Right.
And then hopefully that crisis is alleviated, and then they can get back to what they're doing.
Got you. And so with this funding, then, that means that the project can move forward and start kind of making a location and starting getting some bids for construction, I guess, and things like that. And this would be available, I guess, to just regular county residents, individuals, but also, I guess, maybe even more importantly, law enforcement, I guess, would have that option of taking someone maybe who's disruptive or in crisis to this triage center.
Yeah, it would be a huge help to law enforcement. Right now, they spend hours on hours trying to figure out where to take individuals in such situations.
Because maybe they haven't broken the law, but they're still in some kind of a crisis, right? I guess
That's exactly
the idea.
it. And so they now have the ability to go to this facility, get these individuals the help, so that it would help law enforcement tremendously. And you're right, it's open to everybody. It's not restricted to just Farmington, Aztec, Bloomfield. It's everybody from the Navajo Nation. In fact, anybody that walks through that door, they can be from the state of Colorado. If they're in a crisis, that facility is there to let them know that help is there to help them with their issues.
Nice. And that's, again, a major change, I guess, in how we deal with folks in crisis, right? To have that type of facility available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so this money will certainly do a large part to make that happen.
Yeah, and I will say credit to San Juan County. So when we were putting together this crisis triage center, it was collaboration from law enforcement, PMS, the hospital, various municipalities, the Navajo Nation. And behavioral health and behavioral health issues have come a long way in just a short period of time. I mean, the Crisis Triage Center was mentioned in 2019 when the county put together a behavioral health gap analysis, and that was one area that was missing. So from 2019 to here we are 2015, to have the ability, and with $7 million to plan, design, equip, construct a facility of this nature, I have to give a lot of credit to everybody that has worked on this.
I think a good point. And again, this is another example of communities and entities working together, right? This is certainly a San Juan County project, but also with help from, I think, the city of Farmington. Is the hospital involved with this, and maybe PMS at some point down the road? Was that kind of the idea of these entities coming together to make this happen as well?
Yeah, that was the idea. In fact, we had learned early on is that if we're going to be successful in this venture, you need to have that collaboration. You need to have the buy-in, and all those entities have participated, raised their hand in how they can assist, and want to make sure, because at the end of the day, this is for our community. the last thing we want to see is somebody in crisis not getting the help that they need.
Sure, exactly. But again, I keep hearing as I do this program, folks that come in and say that there are other communities in the state that are dumbfounded as how well the entities up in San Juan County work together to make some of these things happen. And I guess this is just another example of that, which may not happen in other parts of the state for whatever reason.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times San Juan County doesn't get the credit. In fact, we're always looking where the grass is greener on the other side. The reality is we're watering the grass here, and so the grass is greener. We're all working together. And it's amazing from the collaboration from law enforcement, the hospital, the different nonprofits, all looking to go into that same direction and get the help that we need. And we are geographically isolated, but that doesn't stop us in trying to deliver the help and the needs for our community.
Right, exactly. And mental health is a big concern and a big issue. And I know you mentioned that needs assessment study, I think, and that's what kind of brought us the Mental Wellness Resource Center that opened during the COVID pandemic. And then, of course, now we have the Navigation Center that's also grown out of that, and this would be maybe the next kind of growth of that concept, I guess, or those services.
Just continuing checking those boxes, and this is a big one.
Right.
From the Mental Wellness Resource Center, the Navigation Center, and then now the Crisis Triage Center, I think the county has and the community has a lot to tout about.
Right, very exciting. Well, congratulations again to both of you, and again, thanks to the state legislature, the delegation that helps put these funds back into San Juan County. The other thing that was mentioned was another EMS station. Is that in a new location, or is it just improving an existing EMS station?
It would be, Scott, in a new location.
Okay.
Not far from the current one.
I see.
The current facility is located just south of 20th Street, in the middle of Farmington. It's a leased facility that has been kind of retrofitted to make it work as an ambulance station. But we think we can do better, and we are working to acquire some property in that general vicinity, and so pre-planning, as we always do. If we're successful in doing that, we wanted to have funding available to jump right into the design. And once again, like you said, thank our state legislative delegation. This has been a priority for San Juan County and San Juan Regional Medical Center now for, over 3 years that we've been working on this and trying to make this project a reality. And so it's nice to see that we'll be able to hopefully move this project forward and have a purpose-built facility for our really valuable and important EMS staff.
Sure.
The contract staff through San Juan Regional Medical Center, they do a phenomenal job for our community and oftentimes end up being the unsung heroes, like we have a lot of folks in public safety. So we want to make sure they have the right resources necessary for them to be able to do their job on a 24/7, 365 basis. They're there when you call 911. You're expecting the ambulance to show up, and we want to make sure that those folks are ready to respond and have the amenities they need to be able to do their job properly.
Right, very true. And to have it be a county-owned facility, I guess, maybe a little bit better than a leased facility, or at least it gives you more control over it, I suppose, right, than having to deal with a landlord, perhaps.
It does, and it also, like I said, would upgrade the facility. We have a number of county ambulance facilities that have been constructed through time. We benefit from a dedicated tax, a 0.25% tax that's dedicated just to 911 communications as well as EMS. It can also be used for behavioral health, but to this point in time it is not. It's been solely focused on making sure that those two operations have the resources they need, and neither one of those would be as successful as they are without that dedicated source of funding. And I want to say thank you to the taxpayers, because the reality is they've, through time, have supported that tax and have renewed it, and now it's in place permanently, and obviously it provides the resources needed to have those valuable public safety features available to our community.
Right. Very good. And that brings up the topic of taxation. You mentioned, I think, property taxes that are kind of holding steady with some growth and things like that. The gross receipts taxes that are up, which means more people are buying things in the county, and the county's seeing some of that revenue as well. But for property taxes and things like that, as you mentioned, seeing some of the growth and some of the other things happening in the county, that looks like it's going in the right direction.
Yeah, very much so, Scott. If you were to look back not that long ago to 2019, it was pretty dire times here. With oil and gas, probably I think it was the lowest point in the 100-year history of the basin for adjusted for inflation, adjusted for activity.
Right.
And then we knew at that point, because of the Energy Transition Act, that San Juan Generating Station would be closing. And so to be here in 2025 and providing a positive economic report, kudos to our entire area again. And certainly, you almost expect it. We're a pretty resilient bunch up here. We've been through a lot of boom and bust cycles, and my money's always on the citizens of San Juan County to when the times get tough, we get tougher, and we find solutions to problems. And a lot of great economic activity has taken place both on the public sector side, but more importantly on the private sector side. And that for us is most important at San Juan County. We know if the private sector is successful, the rest will take care of itself, and we know that's going to help fuel what's needed for the public sector and for the local governments here.
Gotcha. Very, very good. And so to talk a bit about the future, I guess, as you put together the budget for fiscal year 2026 and looking beyond, are you expecting these things to stay? I know there's a lot of unknowns. There's tariffs and at the federal level and things like that. What some of those decisions might mean for San Juan County, that's probably a big question mark, I guess, on your spreadsheet.
It is. We're seeing some interest still for this being a long-time energy hub, and I think it's going to continue to be an energy hub. We have a couple solar projects that are, in addition to the one that's already constructed, looking at this area. We have some potentially new fossil fuel-based projects. I think those that are looking at more of an environmentally friendly type solution with some power generation. I know that NTEC, Navajo Transitional Energy Company, is looking at what they're calling the NAV Energy Hub, a $5 billion project to maintain the operation of the Four Corners Power Plant, but also add in renewables such as solar, as well as some natural gas power. We've even had some interest in some data centers looking at this area. So the diversification of our economy is happening, which is very positive long term. And then our base industries, oil and gas being another one, we're seeing some positive news there for this upcoming year and some drilling activity that could take place. And so that hasn't been as profound in years past. So that with some of the other positive projects like the Four Corners Freight Rail project, we're hoping to get that project online. We're finishing up the feasibility study this month. Then going to roll into the preliminary engineering and the NEPA analysis of that project, funded by a federal grant that is still intact.
Okay. All right.
$4 million. And then
he says as he crosses his fingers.
I cross my fingers.
For the radio audience, you can't see that.
That's right.
Okay.
And then New Mexico Match Fund is funding another $1 million. So there are no local resources going to continue that effort, but it's very important because of the new opportunities that could bring, both on the import and export side to help grow businesses that are here, but also bring in new industry. On the federal side, though, we are a little cautious because we, if your listeners didn't know, they should know that we do receive a fairly large payment per year from the federal government of $2.8 million for what's called a payment in lieu of taxes, and that's specific to the 25% of lands in San Juan County that are owned by the federal government and operated by the BLM, and that's a common payment nationwide. 62% of counties that have throughout the United States that have public lands receive such compensation because they're not taxable lands, but we do provide services, police, fire, road maintenance, solid waste. Those are all services provided by the county to our public lands, which is an important part of our community, both for industry as well as recreation.
Right.
And so we want to make sure that's maintained, and we just don't know where cuts might go at the federal level. So we're actually in D.C. Just here a few weeks ago with a couple commissioners and talking about the freight rail project and making sure our federal delegation was aware of what the impact of PILT would be on San Juan County.
Gotcha.
So
very good. And they were mostly receptive, or all receptive to your concerns?
Very receptive. And in New Mexico, obviously there's a large presence of the federal government. So
sure.
I think it's 32 of the 33 counties in New Mexico receive some form of property tax replacement payments,
Right.
PILT payments from the federal government, and so yeah, I think no doubt our legislative federal delegation understands what that means.
Right, understood. And I guess some talk about maybe selling off some federal land to make it private. That could maybe help with the housing issues and things, not just in our state, but all across maybe the states that have federal land. Is that something that's being talked about too, that you're hearing about?
It is, yeah, and we actually explored that, 10 or 15 years ago with the BLM, and there's a process by which they can dispose of lands. In fact, the San Juan County Industrial Park was a disposition of federal lands to San Juan County back in 2008, and so we would be supportive of that because only 6.5% of the land in San Juan County is privately owned, so that does provide a slight issue when it comes to being able to provide affordable housing solutions.
Right, but certainly not every parcel would be suitable for development, perhaps.
No,
for housing.
yeah. We wouldn't want an arroyo or the side of a mountain donated to a private developer or the county to develop affordable housing.
Exactly.
You spend a lot of money mitigating such features.
Exactly, understood. But that is something that's being discussed at both federal and local levels too.
Yeah, and we're discussing it from the standpoint of what would it look like if that were to happen. And we, like I said, we successfully have managed that before with the acquisition of the industrial park. So we do have a little knowledge on how that could work and how that could be a benefit to the county.
Gotcha. Very good. Some future projects. We talked briefly before we came on the air this morning about some maybe planning out at McGee Park and maybe some ideas to perhaps improve, I guess, the areas at McGee Park. And Steven Saavadra, talk to me a bit about that. This is just conceptual, but some kind of wish list types of things of what could be done out there with the county facility?
Yeah. So a few months back, we had hired a plan collaborative to look at McGee Park, put together a master plan for improvements for the facility, so that ultimately we would be able to take the conceptual ideas and put them into hopefully a capital outlay request in the future. Thus far, the group has explored anything from pickleball courts at McGee Park, a dog park, looking at the track infield, and looking at making improvements to the RV area, cots, barbecue pits, things of that nature that are close to the river. There's actually a stakeholder meeting this Thursday, April 3rd at 5:30, and then, and nobody knows this, but they'll know it, a public meeting scheduled for April 24th, 5:30 at McGee Park, Room C, and so that we could hear from the public what ideas they have, and then hopefully we can be able to put together a well-rounded document and show what could happen. McGee Park is a beautiful facility, beautiful natural landscape in the back with the bluffs, the San Juan, and so forth, adjacent to Highway 64. So there is great bones to that facility. Just add a little bit more and make some improvements, not only for visitors, but also our residents, the community that lives nearby.
Right. And so I guess what I'm getting from that is maybe to make it into more of a place where people, through the RVs, you've got the RV park already there, could stay and take advantage of some of these other amenities that would be there. Does that mean the county's getting into the hospitality business, or who knows?
Well, of course, we already host the RVs currently there. But yes, if there's additional amenities, there's already the casino, there's the racetrack, and they're able to take advantage of that now.
Right.
But for example, if they want to play pickleball in the meantime, they would have hopefully that ability in the near future, or some other amenity that the general public. What has been proposed thus far is some fields for the youth. We've heard that. I know one of our former commissioners and current state senator has mentioned, maybe add some different infrastructure. But right now, it's just in the conceptual stages.
Sure.
Still a lot that has to be weighed with various stakeholders to see what their take is. And then, of course, ultimately, this will come down to funding. And I think the last question is, what's most appropriate for our community and the county?
Right. And I guess affordable and things like that too, right, with what you are talking about. But,
absolutely.
But that's the idea. And again, this would be available to visitors and residents alike. So folks that live in that Lee Acres neighborhood would certainly get the benefits of any kind of improvements recreationally to the McGee Park area. And certainly there is you've got big piece of property to work with.
Correct. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
some of these things could
Yeah.
happen.
Yep.
So
And I'll just
Yeah.
add, this is the same group that is currently working on the All Abilities Park and is working currently on the San Juan County's Outdoor Recreation Master Plan, which should be wrapped up May or June. 10 months in. We started in August at the county fair getting public participation. Thus far, over 1,700 individuals have participated in one form or another through public comments or through actual events. And so we're excited to see these documents wind down and hopefully good ideas come from them.
very good. And the breaking news that you just broke this morning, that your public meeting will be later on this month for
April.
public comments on this idea at McGee Park.
Yes, sir.
Got it. Very good. Before we run out of time this morning, gentlemen, I wanted to ask a bit about the Pinion Hills Extension project. The city of Farmington certainly is working on their phase to take the Pinion Hills Boulevard across Main Street, across the river, to the Southside River Road area there, and then the county's phase is to pick it up from there. And funding certainly always an issue. Mr. Stark, what's the latest? You're working on property acquisition, I guess, for your phase?
We are working on right-of-way acquisition and of course funding. Probably important for your listeners and viewers to know that the county's portion of that project is not funded. We did have funding for a brief moment of time when the state had allocated some of their American Rescue Plan Act money. We had $9 million and the city of Farmington $25 million, but that's funding that had to be obligated by the end of last year. And probably more importantly, when the city of Farmington put their portion of the project out to bid, it was short quite a bit because of all the construction inflation that we've seen. And so the state rightly reallocated that funding from the county to the city so they could move forward with issuing the bids that they had for that project and to move it forward. And we're glad to see all the activity that's taking place, and looks like it appears to be ahead of schedule. So we're going to be driving
All
that
right.
road sooner than
Right.
we realize. But we're working hard in this legislative session. Another big kudos to our state legislators. I know our county commission actively involved in trying to round up the additional funding, and we hope that there'll be some consideration given from the state, New Mexico DOT, and Secretary Cerner, and even the governor's office to help finish this project, because it wouldn't complete the infrastructure that's needed to take the additional traffic from Main Street and the connectivity across Crouch Mesa and then tied into County Road 390. To just see the road terminate at Southside River Road wouldn't fulfill the full dream and needs of that transportation link. So
Right.
we're very hopeful that we can get that project fully funded on the county side, and once Farmington completes construction, we'll be hopefully ready to start putting some shovels in the ground on our portion of the project.
Got you. So what is the dollar amount, I guess, do we know, for the county's side, and how much more did the city's line or final number go up, I guess?
Sure. Yeah. The total need on the county side is $29 million. That's the latest engineer's estimate. Of course, that's just an estimate, so you don't
right.
really know
Sure.
till you bid the project
Right.
where it comes
But
in.
it's less than the city of Farmington side, right?
It is, yeah, because they've got the
Bridges and things like
construction
that.
on their portion of the project. So I think the total amount relative to their project was $42 million. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, it's the old adage that building bridges it actually means that's not easy to do.
Right.
And so you want to work hard to build bridges, but it takes a lot of effort, and in this case, a lot of funding to be able to pull off projects like that.
But there is a bill from this year's legislative session, you were telling me, that tries to at least prioritize this project with the DOT, or ask them to prioritize the project. Is that something the governor, I guess, is still looking at signing?
It does. Within the budget bill, House Bill 2, there was a specific consideration given to this project, as well as an overpass project in Los Lunas. So we won't know if that provision stays in the bill until April 11th. We hope it does. But yes, we're definitely right now very, very cautiously optimistic about that project. And then, of course, it will still take coordination with New Mexico DOT to make that project a priority. It doesn't provide a specific line item of funding. It just indicates that NMDOT would make both of those projects a priority. So it's better than not having anything in the bill. And
Right.
more importantly, I think there is a statewide understanding of why this project needs to be completed and how it would benefit the entire area here in San Juan County.
Sure. Very good. Well, and I appreciate the information on that project. I know there's a lot of people that are watching it and waiting for it, and it's been on the books for, gosh, as long as I've been here, I think
25
years or so, right?
Yeah.
A long time, and the prices ballooned from during those years as well, just because of the inflationary things, and that's what's happening now. So we can see folks are paying attention to that and trying to find the money to complete it. But I guess, again, this is why projects are done, road projects especially, are done with a beginning and an end point, so you don't have a bridge to nowhere. It will, at least the city of Farmington's part, will certainly help to a certain degree with traffic in that area, and then as the county gets its portion done, kind of provide the complete vision for getting traffic up and onto Crouch Mesa and eventually over to 64.
Absolutely.
It'll tie into the existing road network at that point. So, very good. Well, gentlemen, we are out of time, I'm sorry to say, but I really appreciate you both coming in on a Monday. Normally it's San Juan County Thursday, but here we are talking to the county on a Monday, which is great to be able to do. So thank you both for being here and giving us a little bit of an update, and good luck with things coming out of Aztec. Appreciate it very much.
Yep. Thank you, Scott.
You're very welcome. My guest this morning from San Juan County here with me on KSJE. KSJE and the San Juan College Native American Center present the Student Study Tip of the Week.
Hello and good day. My name is Demetrius. This is your study tip of the week. Studying without distractions is crucial. If you're studying alone, try to find a quiet space or put headphones in to block out noise from your surroundings. If you're in an area trying to study and it's just not working out, relocate. It might be frustrating to have to pick up and move, but it will be worth it once you're in a good environment. Consider putting your phone on silent or vibrate too. You can always respond to your messages after your study session.
The Student Study Tip of the Week is presented by the San Juan College Native American Center and KSJE.
Export controls? What export controls? From American Public Media, this is Marketplace Tech. I'm Megan McCarty-Carino.
Marketplace Tech is supported by Progressive Insurance, helping protect small businesses with a variety of coverages like general liability, workers' compensation, and commercial auto. More at progressivecommercial.com.
Last week, the U.S. added 50 more Chinese companies to its export control list. The sale of American hardware for use in supercomputing and artificial intelligence has been restricted since 2022, part of a long-standing competition between the U.S. and China to lead the world in advanced technologies. The release of AI models from Chinese company DeepSeek stunned industry experts in January because they appear to be as capable as U.S.-made models, despite potentially more limited access to the most advanced chips. The BBC's Laura Bicker has this story.
Capture pawn.
Head in hands, 8-year-old Timmy mutters to himself as he tries to beat a robot powered by artificial intelligence at a game of chess. This is not an AI showroom or an AI lab. This is a middle-class living room in Beijing. It's like a little teacher or a little friend, he says, as the mechanical arm moves another chess piece.
Well done. So you won.
Yes. China is embracing AI in its bid to become a global leader in technology by 2030. And Timmy's mum, Yan Xue, wants to be ahead of the curve.
This is an inevitable trend. We will coexist with AI. Children should get to know it as soon as possible.
This is what the Communist Party hopes to hear as it pushes AI development to revive the economy. At an exhibition in Shanghai, you get a glimpse of the kind of developments they're looking at. Humanoid robots walk among us, alongside back-flipping dog-like bots made by a rising star in China called Unitree. But there's one name on everyone's mind.
DeepSeek.
DeepSeek was a breakthrough Chinese chatbot that caught the world's attention in January. It was seen as proof that Chinese companies can overcome US export controls on advanced chips.
Can you make the dinosaur move?
Interest in AI is now fostered at an early age in China.
Pairing successful.
What you can hear is a moving brick dinosaur built by an 8-year-old. These bots are sold to children as young as 3 across the world, but made here in China. Abbott Liu is the vice president of WhalesBot.
Other countries have AI education robots as well, but when it comes to competitiveness and smart hardware, China is doing better.
China has more graduates in science, technology, engineering and maths than anywhere else in the world, giving it an edge.
Today, I'm playing chess against an AI model.
As companies plan their next move, President Xi continues to invest heavily in AI, in robots and advanced tech, in preparation for a race against the US that he hopes China will eventually win.
That was the BBC's Laura Bicker. I'm Megan McCarty-Carino, and that's Marketplace Tech. This is APM.
Yacht A, Journey with Native Art Voices of the Four Corners and me, Vinaya Yazi, where we will trek into the Native artist dialogue and narrative. Together, we will take a glimpse into the art process and the lives of the Navajo, Apache, Ute, and Pueblo artists living within Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico. Tune in every third Thursday of the month at 9:30 a.m. or find podcast episodes. Native Art Voices of the Four Corners, great artist stories are the journey of art in the Four Corners.
KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, whose vision is to deliver world-class care, making life better for the communities they are privileged to serve. Offering a comprehensive range of inpatient, outpatient, and emergency care services so residents can live life better here. San Juan Regional Medical Center, community-owned and operated, here for you.
Find your next career at San Juan College, a full-time paramedic instructor, teaching a mix of dynamic face-to-face lectures, online courses, hands-on labs,